this is, check out what's got the goods, what the statistics are for how much real curing your modality of choice has got. Be true to yourself. Anyway, right, so this is brilliant for health. And that's really wonderful and exciting. But I'll tell you why I have the greatest joy with this work. And that is because, I mean, like, we have 4 million people in New Zealand. We're like a small part of a city in the Western world, or even in the Eastern world, have 4 million. And if we can establish an area that's cleared, people know what's happening, why it's happening with these entities, how to clear them. At 100th monkey point, it's going to transform into a good civilization. Now, having studied the globalism, the multinationals, the pharmaceutical oils banks, and do see the DVD corporation. It's about an hour and a half go through about 5 meters of my books, and a nice, as comfortable as it gets format, sit in front of the screen. It's pretty obvious that the people at the head of these multinationals that just simply want control over every being on Earth. I mean, they want the patents, the legal rights to every living thing, and they actually even legally have the right of ownership over all humans except those that have had a full-term birth. So like cesareans, they've already got. Please do see that DVD corporation, because that will explain to you exactly. So with these corporations that are going Monsanto and whatnot, then they're going for owning life, controlling life, owning every species of tree and herb, and it's pretty clear that they're influenced, controlled by dark force entities. And once people get out of the syndrome of being a victim to the banks, their interest level, I mean, this ridiculous stuff of banks having 23 times the money, whatever's invested in their bank. Like in America, they have legal right to loan out 22 times more of that, and take interest on it, and take collateral on it for adjusting the digits on a major computer, so that then you have a loan of that money. People need to catch on to that, and of course the income tax situation, the 8 banks that regroup under the name World Bank, IMF, International Monetary Fund, and the Federal Reserve Bank, where people are free will giving their about a third of their income across the board or higher to the 16th Amendment was never passed. So in America it still stands under the Constitution. Income tax is illegal and unconstitutional. So this kind of stuff, when you catch on to, you can see how insidious it is. And we're working here with an unrolling and transforming to the light. People are not going to stand for being a victim any longer. At that point, they won't be a victim. And we won't have dark forces ruling those that are ruling the components of so much of our daily life. Embedding toxicity into our food, air, water, the earth itself. And notably, This is to say, no punches pulled talk. The ETs, some of them controlled by dark forces and some of them not, can also be released from the heavy burden of being controlled by DFEs, because when you get into the Baldwin work, the CE6 book he wrote, Close Encounters of the Possession Kind, he's finding, as I say, 60-70% of the people have an ET in them. But once you work with a client and you identify an ET within them, starts talking through your client, you can, if they are dark force entity controlled, okay, you could speak to the more leader of the ship or whatever, but at a point where you see the need, which is usually the case, you can then just ask to speak to the elders of that species and say, do you want the dark force entities transformed in your species? This is non-interference work, it's work by permission. And in most cases, the elders ask, this is telepathic, so I'll do my best to put into words the tone of their meaning. Yes, for eons we haven't known what to do with them. Proceed! And then you proceed with the DSR, demonic spirit releasement, and the whole species gets cleared. Now, there's a lot of ET species, but with more and more workers who have been cleared and have read the books and do know about this phenomena, there's going to be a lot more people working for the people. And we will reach also the species reptilian, draconian, and undoubtedly etc., who are so seriously mucking up our lives. And they too can be released. And that's a guarantee of a very fine civilization on Earth for us to live in. And that's what really, really gives me a joy about this knowledge. So, there it is. After that, I wanted to do bits and pieces of things I've learned, a very incomplete list, and just talk a little bit about my personal life, because it's something that I want to encourage each of you to put together for yourself, and if you've got the braveness to really put it forth, join me on YouTube. I hope to drop this whole thing on it. Just search for Heypinkie, Heypinkie, and I'll do my best to secure us a place there where all of us can share with each other. I'll, if there's room on this DVD, put a beginning of a 23-minute segment I entitled At Your Service, as that's what I am. I'm at your service. I'm at service to all. And then half an hour just on the cultural pieces of my home. And with a little bit of luck, I'll have a small dance segment, because to dance is to know the joy of life, and that's a really good way of sharing also, not just sitting here and